Hello, my friends. Master Sommelier Peter Neptune here with an episode of my YouTube channel. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for telling your friends. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks for your thumbs up and your requests. And here's another request. I love it. Barbera. This is a grape varietal grown predominantly in the Piedmont region of Italy, but there's a lot of Barbera plantings here in the state of California, a good amount in the Valle de Guadalupe area of Mexico. Barbera is grown as far south as Campania in Italy. It's a very versatile grape. It's quite loved by growers because it's productive. It's known for its rather high acidity and rather low tannin. It marries well with oak, more on that in a second. And it's just a kind of go-to wine. If you visit, I've been to Piedmont and visited producers many times, and if you go out to a lunch, I mean, they're going to order Barbera. There's a saying that Barolo and Barbaresco buys you the Mercedes, meaning the grower. Barbera and its friend Dolcetto, which I'll probably do an episode on in the future, are the two everyday drinking varietals. Barbera is known to have a kind of very bright cherry fruit character to it, and is very, very food friendly. I quite like the varietal. I like Barbera a lot, so I got 3 different price points at my friends at High Time Wine Cellars in Costa Mesa. Shout out to everybody there. So I've got this Vietti Barbera d'Asti for $16.99. I've got the Braida, Barbera de Montebruna. This is Barbera d'Asti as well for $29.99. And then I've got this Nizza, which is $49.99, and it is a DOCG in and of its own. It's a village. It's always been considered to be probably the best village in Asti for Barbera, and it got its own DOCG a few years ago. Barbera d'Asti has a DOCG, so this is the highest level of Italian wine law. Barbera is grown predominantly in the Asti province of Piemonte. It's also grown in the Alba area of Piemonte. Within Asti, there's an area called Monferrato that has its own DOCG, and then the best of the best is the Nizza DOCG, which is a village that just has really, really high quality. So let's jump in, see what we get with 3 different price points of Barbera here. The Vietti Barbera d'Asti, this is called Trevier. This used to be called Trevigne, but the word vigne cannot be used anymore other than to designate a single vineyard. So they changed that law beginning with the 2022 vintage. So they changed the name of the wine to Trevier. And it refers to the fact that they're basically sourcing the grapes from 3 different vineyards. This is practicing organic, 12 months in large Slavonian oak barrels. More on new oak in a little bit. This is fairly, I'm going to actually call this medium purple. So this obviously had some skin contact, but on the nose, youthful wine. Still, it's a 2021, and right there off the bat is that bright cherry character, saturated cherry. It's almost like cherry. I don't want to say cherry jam, but like cherry conserves, maybe not with a lot of sugar stirred in. There's a kind of a purple fruit character, a purple plum, damson plum. And almost a hint. What are those the sticks that the kids eat, like the Jolly Rancher? This is like it smells like a Jolly Rancher, like a grape Jolly Rancher. And there's a hint of kind of table grape character here. There's little hints of pink peppercorn and a little bit of kind of like Italian herb, maybe some fresh oregano sprinkled over the top there. Boom. On the palate, dry, acidity, medium plus, tannin, medium, chewy, very bright wine. Alcohol is high. Barbera easily hits 14.5, even can approach 15, and retaining its acidity. That's why they love it so much, because you get real ripe Barbera ripens 2 weeks later than Dolcetto, and about 2 weeks earlier than the noble Nebbiolo, maybe even 3 weeks earlier than Nebbiolo, which ripens really late. Actually, I'm pushing the tannin up here. Even aging in old Slavonian oak is giving us oak tannin. So I'm gonna change my tannin call to medium plus here. That tannin crept up, boom, and just wham. Finish is medium plus, intensity is medium plus, and on the palate, you get a lot of cherry fruit, a little plum, some pink peppercorn, and Italian herbs. I think the wine's good. This needs food really bad. Some pepperoni pizza would be awesome, or what is that, salsicante or whatever, salsiccia. This would be good with Calabrian chili and some dried meat, and this would be really nice accompanying a charcuterie board with Italian dried meats and some pecorino, some Parmigiano Reggiano, this would be a just really nice appetizer kind of wine. Very versatile, great with pizza, great with pasta puttanesca, something like that. Make that at home, look that recipe up. That's a really great pasta dish, pasta sauce that comes from the south of Italy. That's a solid good. Price is $16.99. Next up, 2020, Braida, Barbera d'Asti Montebruna. This is from the great Giacomo Bologna. Giacomo Bologna is a pioneer and a specialist in Barbera. He was the guy who back in the 1980s, the early 1980s, put Barbera in new French oak barrique. The wine was Braida, and it was called Brique del Uccellone. Brique in Piemontese dialect means the top of the hill. And usually the top of the hill or the hill crest is where your best vineyard area is. It's where it's the warmest. In the Langhe area, Nebbiolo would be planted, of course, but in the Asti area, you would have Barbera. And he put this Brique del Uccellone Barbera in new French oak, and it was sensational. It's great wine, and it revolutionized how Barbera was perceived because the new oak adds tannin to the wine, and Barbera has enough acidity and enough bright red fruit to be able to handle new oak. So basically, there's two kinds of schools of thought with Barbera. Not a lot of oak, like something like this, where you have used oak and large barrels, and here they're putting the wine into, again, large oak barrels to age for a year. Brique del Uccellone now is $85 a bottle. I remember when it was 20, but it's a great bottle of wine if you ever do come across it. But they began making this wine a few years ago, more of a medium price point. Not that $29.99 is a medium price point, but in the world of wine, a lot of people shrug and say, well, that's not that much. So I'm really curious to try it because I have never tried this wine before. This is a medium dusty ruby. How's that? Dusty ruby. And on the nose, oh, wow, beautiful nose. Lifted, perfumed red fruit. So we've got red raspberry, red currant. There's cherry, but it's really more raspberry and berry. There's a little bit of cola nut. There's a beautiful floral perfume, peony and other red florals. There's a little hint of pomegranate. It's a really elegant nose compared to this, which is much more kind of very straightforward. This was fermented in stainless steel, then transferred to large oak barrels to age for a year. A really, really beautiful, elegant nose on the palate. Dry, acidity approaching high. Tannin, again, medium plus. So even aging in older, large oak barrels, you're getting oak tannin from those barrels. This is a little bit more elegant than the Vietti. It's got a lot of length. The finish is quite long. The intensity is medium plus to pronounced. And there's a lot going on here. Very chewy wine, a lot of bright. The key of Barbera is that bright acidity. I'm going to call that high acid, and it's got that kind of raspberry, red currant, very berry character with dried Italian herbs and kind of, again, this kind of almost a pomegranate, or even what do they put in the Shirley Temples there? I forget what that stuff's called. It's pomegranate syrup. Finish is quite long. This is very good wine. This needs food for sure. This would be great with any number of Italian meat dishes or poultry dishes, even some spicy dishes. And this wine, I think, also is going to improve in the bottle. I think the Barbera from Vietti would improve in the bottle too over a period of years. Barbera actually ages very, very well. So I'm going to call that very good. And that is $29.99 at High Time Wine Cellars in Costa Mesa. Up next, 2019, Michel Chiarlo, Nizza Riserva, La Corte. So this is a single cru, a single vineyard. This was acquired by the Chiarlo family in 1995. It's from one of the 6 core zones that comprises actually what is the 50th UNESCO World Heritage Site in Italy. And it was declared a World Heritage Site in 2014. This is fermented in oak vats with the skins, then aged in large barrels for a year and then barrique for a year. The Riserva Nizza has to be aged a minimum of 30 months in total. So it was aged in larger barrel and then barrique and then 18 months in the bottle. So these wines, there's a pretty serious aging regime here for the DOCG Nizza. This is a very deep ruby color. Can't even see my finger through the color here. And on the nose, this is developing. There's a little bit of dried fruit character here, a little bit of dried herbs. And this is a very complex nose. I do get wood notes here. So this has kind of a dusty cherry, a macerated cherry character, dark. There's a little bit of dark black cherry as well. There's notes of Italian herbs, dried oregano, dried thyme, sage. There's hints of smoke. I don't want to say vanilla, that's the wrong word, but I get a little hint of toast, a little bit of like toasted Italian bread, and a little hint of, I think, dark chocolate, like 90% cacao dark chocolate. Very nice nose, very, very elegant, a lot going on. A little bit of tar, smoke, I think I said. And the fruit is a combination. It's a little bit of dried fruit, a little bit of macerated fruit on the palate. Dry, acid, medium plus, tannin, medium plus. So all 3 of these Barberas have more tannin than I would kind of expect. So I'm probably going to need to recalibrate my idea here of Barbera, because this is, medium plus tannin. Alcohol's high, body's full, intensity's pronounced, and the finish is quite long. Big bottle of wine. All these wines are bigger than I would have expected. Very chewy tannin, a little bit grippy. There's a black cherry, red cherry, black raspberry, plum, a little bit of peppery character, dried Italian herbs, very savory. There's a sanguine character here as well. Really, really chewy. Again, boy, this wine could easily improve in the bottle for another 10 years. This is $49.99, so it's not inexpensive, but it's a lot of wine, and it's quite, I would say it's very good wine. There's a lot going on here, and this might just change your opinion of Barbera. I think all 3 of these would benefit from a good, solid splash decant an hour, maybe 2 hours before you drink them. I poured these right out of the bottle. So I have a feeling that if I tasted them later on today, they will be much improved. And I think that aeration time will actually be really good for these wines. So that's a look at the Barbera grape from the Asti region of Piedmont. As always, thanks for watching. and I will see you next time.